Once again, thank you everybody who's joined today. We're really excited to talk to y'all. We had an incredible release this past week that folks have been sending us lots of feedback on, and we do want to take you through not just that, but just a little bit of why, or mostly why we are making the decisions that we're making here at Userflow today. I mentioned that myself and Fate will be taking you through this today. We're going to talk about onboarding to support, how to automate the entire product experience with AI through Userflow. I will give a little overview of myself. So I'm Christine. I am the VP of Product and Design here at Userflow. I've been in product for 16-ish years. Ground up individual contributor product manager. Absolutely love it. And it's in my bones. Fell in accidentally, like I'm sure lots of people on this call did at some point in our careers. And I've enjoyed the journey ever since then. And it's led me to want to continue to build product, not only for, but well, especially for product people. I feel the pain. I enjoy serving the product community. And one of the ways I do that is by trying to make your lives easier day in and day out. And so I am here to try to do that through Userflow today. And I'll pass it over to Fate to give an overview of who he is.
Yeah, it's great to meet everybody. I'm Fade. I'm over in Austin, Texas. I'm director of sales here at Userflow. I've been with Userflow and Beamer for a couple years now. I was here kind of early on, right? So I got to meet the founders, Esmond, Sebastian, work with them, and really see Userflow develop and kind of iterate over the years. And so I'm really excited about this new launch. I think it's really exciting and definitely I think one of the best things we've shipped since I've been here. So I'm excited to chat through that today.
Awesome. Thanks, Fate. I'm going to take y'all through what we're going to cover today. So I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about why product experiences are too slow, and that equates to product and growth teams and lots of customer obsessed teams feeling the pain around driving a really good product experience. And that is hopefully shifting today with Userflow and what we've just launched. So we'll talk a little bit about the product itself and the features that we just launched, obviously. So Smartflow and our AI suite. We're going to go through some demos and we will reserve some time at the end for Q&A. I don't think we're going to take the full hour. If we do, awesome. If not, then, we'll make sure we have lots of time for engagement with the audience. Before we dive in to the content, we'll talk a little bit about Userflow. So we are an all-in-one product adoption platform. Our customers are using us to convert, engage, and support their users all in one place. So thank you to the customers who are on this call today, and love having you along the journey. You are the reason that we built a lot of the things that we'll talk about today. We cover product tours, in-app surveys, we have a change log, and then we also have an AI assistant that Fate's going to take you through. In-app, we also have checklists, a resource center, the ability to publish announcements, drive NPS to see your sentiment, and then also collect feedback. We also have a robust catalog of integrations, and then we are also moving forward with a little bit of insights to help you understand your efforts in app and throughout your product. And then we also have in-app banners that help get your customers to where they need to be very quickly. So I'm going to dive in, as we do in product, on pain and what's happening in our space. For those of you who have either been doing it, oh, everybody here has been doing it for, at least a year, or like myself, maybe 15 plus. There was a time when onboarding was not an app. Now onboarding is an app, and I know a lot of you may not remember that time, but it's very interesting to see the evolution of it. No matter what, onboarding itself has always taken very long. And in-app flows generally take a very long time to build, particularly if you have a more complex app or you have very intricate steps that you want the user to walk through. You want to get people to where they're going very quickly. And it's not that easy to do. Things are changing today because of new tech, and we're leaning into that to try to drive a better experience. Teams are stretched super thin with limited operational help and product marketing help, or one or both. I'm a huge lover of product ops. We do not have a product ops team, and a lot of people actually do not. A lot of people also don't have product marketers. And so, we've seen a shift over the last 5 to 10 years in the product and growth spaces where SaaS companies are, downsizing and looking to drive growth more efficiently and operate quite lean. That's okay because there's, obviously business goals that you have to hit, but you have to operate very smart in that kind of environment. And so with that, we see a lot of pain around customers and our customer base and our market that are just super stretched thin. And we wanted to try to drive features that help with that. The other thing is a lot of companies, since 10 years ago at this point with the boom of working remotely, are going global or are already global. And so they're looking to serve customers that are both within the regions that they currently are in and then also where they want to go or where they are growing their businesses already. And that slows things down. There were days I remember uploading XML files to make sure that my guides were translated well, and we don't have those days anymore with advancements in tech, which is really awesome. But there's proper copy that you also want to make sure that you're driving consistency across your messaging that you're putting out to your users. And then again, localization and translation to meet your users where they are. And the other thing is support volume. Once you get customers signed up and they're a recurring user in your app, it grows as the product grows and your complexity grows. And then also going back to point two, your headcount may not be growing at the same pace. We're seeing that teams like ours are stretched thin and really trying to account for end-to-end engagement with users to make sure that they're served very well. And at the end of it, it comes back to the engagement that you're having in app to try to drive more of a PLG strategy. So it's very hard for you to test and iterate on flows very quickly. I'll give an example, right? I will go in and sometimes I'll roll up my sleeves and start to and just create a guide on something that we just recently put out that I was like, oh my gosh, nobody put this one out there and customers would love this. I then get turned into another place where it's like I started to put a guide together. Now I have to go somewhere else. This takes you away from what your task is. Everybody's operating it and wearing multiple hats today in the world that we have. This is a huge pain across our customer base, and we wanted to make sure we drove an experience where they can actually stay in app or move on, and then also something's being done for them so they can return and get that task done somehow. So we look at the shift towards intelligent product experiences, and I'm sure everybody is very much aware of this. AI is becoming a huge multiplier for every function across every industry and every role. There's no denying it, and we're just embracing it at this point. But what happens there is that teams end up wanting to ship faster without adding headcount. And as I speak to my customers day in and day out, this is a common theme and a common pain. There's an expectation that because of AI, you're able to go faster and you're able to do that with either taking down your headcount or doing it with existing headcount. And everybody's trying to stay ahead of the curve. And it's not that easy unless you have the right tools that have evolved with you in your toolkit. Um, Consistency to me is one of the most important things, and it matters more than ever across onboarding through the buying journey and then through ongoing support with your customer base and then through that renewal as well. Your customers expect to hear from you in a certain way, to learn from you in a certain way that reduces their cognitive load and increases the time to adoption and getting them to where they need to be faster. So that is all done through consistency. And that also goes into point four, where users expect instant help and want clear guidance on where they need to go without your involvement sometimes. Let's be very honest with you. We're all now just used to just doing stuff on our own in modern apps, and we are trying to get to where we need to be faster. Human engagement, speaking to a human, necessary when necessary, right? And so what we did was we were very thoughtful about how we put AI into our app. I will share that, across a lot of customer research this past year, there are a couple themes that kept surfacing. One of which is we're all figuring it out together. There's no denying that. People are very excited to apply AI and very excited to embrace AI, but we're also very curious, what can we trust? How quickly will things change? And most importantly, how will those changes impact my customers and their ability to get to where they need to be and do what they need to do with my app? And so what we landed on was we wanted to be very intentional in how we evolved Userflow to just allow our customers to do exactly the things that they want to do, but not overwhelm them. And some of the things that we drove, as I mentioned, Smartflow is the biggest release that we did. This just went out this past week. Prior to that, we released an AI assistant that allows our customers to support their end users 24/7, right where they are. And Fate will take you through what that looks like today. we also, thought about what's common today across the industry, what's common across just our day to day, what's common even outside of work, which is the ability to, write something, check it, use an LLM to try to get you to make sure you're perfecting your communication style. So AI rephrase is something that we worked on, perfecting your copy, writing smarter, not working harder. And then I mentioned this AI translation. Again, we are a global everything. Everyone is trying to reach customers where they are, serve them where they are. And with these four and plus a couple other things that we have coming up in the coming weeks and months, we tried to help put our customers' product experience on autopilot for their customers, and drive this one unified suite of onboarding, adoption, and support that's powered with powerful AI. So the biggest thing that we'll take you through today is Smartflow. And this was awesome as I was playing around with it in our dev environment, and then Fate nerding out, showing it to all of our customers that he possibly could. It helps you build your flows at the speed of thought. So what we do is we apply AI that helps you build onboarding guides and adoption flows, basically any engagement type that we have in our app today. And it just, if you think about it, if you're a designer, UX, or product manager on the call, as you're building, you're looking to get your customers to where they need to be the same way you are getting to where they need to be. Um, and one of the things that I love is, and Fate will show you this, you are able to just walk through the app and show them where they need to go very quickly. And this is your desired experience. Now, if they find a different way, one of the things we're going to do is actually evolve this to tell you, you might want to adjust this. So this is another thing that's coming up soon. This also allows the customer to draft copy for every step. So we're not going to, again, force AI for the sake of forcing AI here. We're doing the heavy lifting when it comes to SmartFlow, but allowing customers to continue to have control, and be able to speak to their customers the way that they need to. And we'll show you what that looks like. And then you can review and edit your structure in minutes to make sure it's fitting the way you want to speak to your customers. But it truly just helps you build 5 times faster, at least, and gets your messaging out the door very quickly. So, three things Fate will take you through in a minute on SmartFlow. It's very easy. You define your goal. You know what you want it to do for your customers. SmartFlow builds it. Once it's built and it's ready for you, you refine it and you make it yours. We have the capabilities that I mentioned before, which is the ability to rephrase and generate text based on your voice, your tone, how you want it to sound to your customers. And then also generate translations if you're looking to serve customers in France or Italy, any of the places that we serve our customers. And then voila, publish it and see results. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'll let Fate take y'all through that today. And then I'll be back in a bit.
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. Let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. Can you see it all right? Okay, perfect. So, um, kind of adding on, right, to what Christine said with all those different, pain points that people in the product world are feeling. I think one of the headlines there that Userflow helps with is speed, right? So being able to, because creating good onboarding is not just a set and forget. You have to iterate, right? And so all these different things that we'll take you through today, right? SmartFlow is going to help you get it spun up very quickly. The AI rephrase and localization are going to be able to help you iterate and change your content over time. And it really fires me up because it just basically builds on one of our main props, which is we're going to help you build great onboarding way faster, right? So we'll jump into it here. So I'm in Userflow. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Flow and go to the SmartFlow Creator, right? Let's call this webinar test, right? We'll put in our prompt here. So the purpose of the flow, let's say it's to guide non-technical users on how to create a project, create with SmartFlow. So now we're in the flow builder here. So then we'll go to the app's URL. So we have a demo app we've got set up for this. So we'll start our click through. So now we're in our application, right? And then we'll go through the steps that we want ideally that tour to take users through. So we want them to go to projects, right? We also want them to click create new project. We want them to name it, right? Let's call it webinar demo, and we want them to create project. And that's what we want them to do. So we'll hit done, right? We'll go back to Userflow. So now it's going to take a minute, minute and a half to create this, right? I'll show you while we wait, right? A flow that's already been created with SmartFlow. So you can see here, right, it's got our welcome modal. It's got the button telling the user to start the tutorial, right? We've got our tooltips steps, showing the tooltips on the different elements if the element is clicked with different triggers, right? But a really great basic flow, and you can get more specific with the prompting that you can go in and edit, right? Maybe you want tooltips to have certain backdrops or you want to change the content, right? But very easy to do that. This is where AI rephrase becomes really helpful. So now you have content in a specific tooltip, right? Maybe you want to change this. You would hit AI rephrase and you can decide, do you want to be more concise? Do you want to be more elaborate? Maybe you want to change the tone, right? So we have a few different tones you guys can select from. Maybe you want a really authoritative tooltip. So you could easily do that, right? And then you can add custom instructions as well, right? So this is where you can add different prompting to actually change with the rephrase. So we'll say we want a calmer tone, right? We'll hit rephrase, and then it's going to change our text appropriately, right? So very easy to use AI to start to change how you want your content to appear in the different flows for your users, etc. The other piece of this that I'm happy to get into, and let's see the webinar test flow. So SmartFlow has now made our webinar flow, right? So we can see it's all created here. And now what I can show you would be AI rephrase. So we've got different languages enabled, so different locale codes, right? Let's say we want to have a French version of this. We would simply hit auto translate with AI, and then it's actually going to translate our content and our flows in the different languages that we need it, right? And then as users actually go into the different locale codes, they'll be able to see the translated versions of the flows you've spun up. So that's a really brief kind of demo of some of the different things that we're able to do there. Christine, did I miss anything? Is there anything you want me to touch on specifically?
No, I would say, well, I mean, there are a couple things. I mentioned before, one of the things that we heard from our customers loud and clear is that sometimes they are doing a million different things. They're wearing lots of hats. One of the things that the SmartFlow is allowing our customers to do is generate whatever they want. And as Fate mentioned, he showed you that he had one that was pre-generated. We send an notification in your email. It takes a couple minutes. And you'll see a message as you're hitting generate SmartFlow that says you can continue to navigate through the app. So just know that you don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to just, worry about leaving and get a new tab. Like you can continue to work through Userflow. You can continue to do what you need to do. We will call you back and make sure that you know very quickly that you're ready to go. The other thing too is currently we're maxing out the smart flow generator at 30 steps. This is something that we're considering, we're trying to learn that we're in an open beta period and a early access period. So we're looking at how many steps are people actually going to use this thing for. We, during our closed beta had like, oh, we just need it for very simple 3 to 4 steps. Some people were like, we need it for about 20. So we're trying to find our balance just like y'all are during your beta period. So any feedback for those who are trying it out, would love to hear that. And you can reach out directly to myself or to Fate to give us that feedback. I think you covered it all though, and I'm going to go back to sharing if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll stop sharing.
Hold on. Okay. Fate, do you see that?
Yeah, got it.
Awesome. Okay. So we just covered this. The next thing that we will talk about is the first AI feature that we actually released earlier this year, which is our AI assistant. And this is common, right? I mentioned that one of the things that we need to do as product people and as teams building for the future is to create an experience that feels very similar and common and familiar because the world is shifting and now we're all looking at agents. We're looking at figuring out how we can get help faster. This was our answer to it, and it's constantly evolving with some very cool things coming out in Q1 around this as well. So for our AI assistant, we're looking at driving your users to get answers faster and create happier users. So with it, you're able to see you get instant answers, you have conversational in-app support. We're working on how you can do an actual handoff over to a human today, which is going to be fun. It learns directly from your knowledge base or website and basically anything that you want it to crawl and pull information from, and that's how it gets trained. What we've seen by using our own AI assistant and from our customers who are using it is that it significantly reduces support tickets by handling repeat questions, which frees up our head of support who's on this call today to spend time with customers, and he's actually, teaching them a bunch of new things versus just being more reactive on the fly. And then it also gives you analytics to show where users are getting stuck. This is something that we're working on right now, to say, okay, hey, this is something that keeps coming up as repeat. Maybe you want to adjust your knowledge base content, or maybe you want to change something in the app because this is what's coming up from your AI assistant data. So this is really cool. Our customers have been leaning in a ton to this, and Fate's going to take you through setting it up and using it today.
All right, thanks, Christine. Can you see it? We're good? All right, perfect. So um, the AI assistant here, so let's imagine, right, we're back in the demo environment, we're in tiny time, right, this application. We've got an AI assistant in the resource center. You can obviously build resource centers with Userflow, right, and then you'll have your AI assistant layered in there. We will ask it a question, right, like, do you offer surveys? Right now, we have ours tied to our documentation, so it's going to scrape that, right? It's going to give a chatbot response and actually give the sources, right, for that answer. We do have, right, a contact human support button that you can add there that can pull up your live chat if you have that integrated with us. So that is something you can do with the AI assistant. But to Christine's point, I think a big value of the AI assistant and the people I talk to, once again, is cutting down support tickets, but also keeping the users engaged within the product, right? So as people are going through, if they have specific questions, right, they can go to the AI assistant, get the source, and it keeps them within the product, and gives them a higher likelihood of not just obviously engaging, but activating or adopting, etc. So to build this, similar to everything else in Userflow, it's very simple, right? So I'm here in the AI assistant, right? We would decide the application name, the language. Do we want it to attempt to match the user's language or reply, only in English? You can even have advanced customization in terms of what AI engine you want to utilize. Right now, we use OpenAI's API, right? So we've got some of their different engines. We also have the ability for you to enable user feedback if you want users to actually say if they like the response, if they don't like the response, any placeholder responses. You have different limits, so you can decide how many messages each user can send if you want to start to limit that. Limits for your account as a whole, how many AI messages do you want to have? And then, of course, right, you can decide user-facing texts. What do you want the chat button to say? Initial message. So very customizable, right? And I should mention as well, similar to everything else in Userflow, it's a key idea for us. It should look native to your application, right? So the idea is not that they're saying, oh, they've got a really cool AI assistant that's powered by Userflow, like, oh, they have a really cool AI assistant, right? So very easy to do that. And then creating or adding your sources, right? You can do web crawler for custom websites, or we have our documentation page. That's how we use it. If you connect us with Intercom or Zendesk and use those help articles, you could easily funnel those in. Salesforce as well. And we've got some other help center integrations, and you can get pretty custom with webhooks and API as well. But that's what it looks like in terms of initial setup. You'll also be able to have analytics as well, where you can see how many messages received. If you have user identifiers, you can actually see what users are asking questions, right? So with Userflow, you get unlimited team seats on two of our plans. What I see a lot of people that I work with do is they may have CS have a seat and go in and periodically check the AI assistant, or did this user say this, and see if they can cross collaborate there. So very easy to build it. We get a lot of usage out of it. A lot of people really like it. Anything I missed, Christine, that you wanted me to jump in on? Okay.
I think you got it. All right. Hold on one second. I am going to share my screen again. All right, cool. All right, so to wrap it up in a bow, and somebody did ask if they missed the SmartFlow demo. We did do the SmartFlow demo, but this will be shared out after as well. So we are in an early access period right now for both customers and then anybody that is in trial to have early access for SmartFlow all the way through January 15th. At which point we will then include SmartFlow in our top two tiers of our plans. So would love for you to give it a shot and then also give us any feedback that you have regardless of customer or trial. Would love to hear from you. AI Assistant is available in all of our plans today, and then our AI Rephrase and AI Translate is available on Pro and Enterprise, which is where our SmartFlow is going to be as well. Um, these are, again, very well thought out and very simple, but yet very effective from what our customers are telling us. Features that have changed the way that they work. They've reduced the amount of time that folks are spending internally on back and forth. And they've reduced the overload of kind of OPSI type work that they would traditionally have done across their teams. So we definitely want to hear more from everybody. And now we finished so early, about a half an hour early, that we have a lot of time for questions. So I'm gonna read a couple that have been coming in from the chat, and I'll stop sharing to do this as well. Fate, am I good there? Do you still see? Yep.
Do I still see which part?
Do you still, you don't see the script, the show?
No, I don't see
Okay,
the
we're
deck.
good to go. We're good to go. All right, cool. All right, let me see. We have a couple questions. So will we lose SmartFlow we made any SmartFlows we made after January 15th if we don't upgrade to those two tiers? The answer is no. Anything that you have generated that you've used, you will not lose them at all. So or will we just have to go back to making them manually and keep SmartFlows made? Yes. So whoever asked that question, thank you. Great question. We did get that one in. We'll also update some of our docs to make sure it's very clear, or put and use Userflow to put another informational pop-up in there for this trial period. You will not lose anything. So go ahead and create your smart flows to your heart's desire and let us know. Um, is there any place where I can access this webinar later on? Yes, we are going to be posting this, I believe. Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong. No, it will automatically be sent out and it will be put up on our blog alongside any Q&A, and we will email it as soon as it is ready. So Armand, thank you for asking that. Any other questions, please feel free to throw them into the Q&A while I continue to read a couple that were already sent in. Okay, let's see. Ooh, some of these are, I just answered a lot of these as well.
So here's a good one,
Yep,
Christine, on details of interaction with Mixpanel and HubSpot. I mean, I'm happy to
take it. Yep,
chat to
go for
that.
it.
So both of those are bidirectional integrations, right? So with HubSpot, you could very easily map basically with Userflow different attributes that you're collecting and use those as start conditions for your flows, right? So you could say if they have this attribute in HubSpot, right, you could easily do that. Mixpanel, say you have a cohort, right, based off a certain activity they're doing or usage that you're tracking in Mixpanel, you could push that cohort over and use that as a start condition, right? If they're in that segment, show them this content, right? So you could very easily do that. And I should mention that the bidirectional nature with HubSpot, right? If they complete certain actions in Userflow, like completed a flow or something like that, it'll show up on the contact record in the activity feed.
Great. I do love this one question here, and it's also an open call for the anonymous user who asked it, which is, are there recommended best practices for our use case given that it differs from typical onboarding flows? Our platform is extremely flexible and users interact with it in many different ways. Can we design flows that simply highlight where certain buttons, drop down, or features are located rather than creating full tutorials? The answer is absolutely yes. And whoever asked this question, I would love to talk to you so that I can understand what your onboarding or what your product looks like today so that we can continue to build a better product. We try to cover most use cases, if not all of them, from complex flows just to tool tips and to in-app announcements so that you can get people's attention and move them very quickly throughout the app or guide them through something that feels very complex. So great question. And we're happy to talk to you and understand more of your use case as well.
And I would just really quickly add to that. What I think a differentiator with Userflow, one of them is we were kind of built with engagement best practices in mind, right? So one of the things that we really do care about is people engage with the things you build with us, right? And so with that comes a lot of customization. So we have a lot of different customers that have different types of onboarding. So whether it's customizing this user sees this, or if this user clicks on this button X amount of times and this event occurs, right? You can get really granular with the targeting intentionally, right? Because every user base is a little bit different and we want people to engage with what you're building.
Cool. I have another good question here from another anonymous attendee, which is, does the AI assistant learn based on your in-product behavior? So to answer that, our AI assistant learns through your knowledge base. And we are actually working right now to update that. And it's plans that we're working through the end of this year and the beginning of Jan-ish, where it's going to learn based on user behavior that we're capturing throughout your product. So we are actually capturing events if you choose to capture events as well through Userflow. And we plan on learning there and then serving you up insights based on both your knowledge base content and then also what people are doing in your product. Okay. Did you see any other good ones that you want to?
A good one is we've got someone who has currently has Beamer installed. Is there any connection or shared benefits with Beamer and Userflow since they are both your products?
Yeah, very good. Very good question. Okay, so there is a connection and a shared benefit with Beamer and Userflow. We actually do have the ability to do some of the very similar things. So if you are actually in the Beamer app, you can click on the Userflow logo and it will take you over. There is a small integration in between it, but the goal is to bring the experience together in the coming months. So look forward to a lot of engagement and communication from us around that. But there is a benefit to being a part of both of the families of Beamer and Userflow, or the one family of Beamer and Userflow today.
Yeah, and what I would say, right, one company, separate products right now. The
Yep.
people that I talk to that utilize Beamer and Userflow, typically they'll have Beamer for the change log or maybe the feedback widget, and they'll be using Userflow to layer in, different guided tours, etc. SmartFlow is just going to enhance that because you're going to be able to, basically make your flows quicker, edit them accordingly, have AI help you generate them. So it's really just going to take a lot of the existing use cases for people that use both and just make user flow more effective and efficient, particularly if you're managing both tools.
Excellent. I think you answered the HubSpot question, but it did come in twice. So do we integrate with HubSpot? Yes, we have a bidirectional integration with HubSpot for those of you who have missed it.
Yeah, and I'll add to this because Ibrahim brought up a good point to me as well. It's bidirectional in that you can target based off if they have certain HubSpot attributes, you can map that to user flow and say if they're this in HubSpot, show them this, etc. What we send to HubSpot is if they complete certain actions, like certain flows, etc., that will show up on their activity feed, right? So you can see that. And then what I've seen some people do is go a step further and say, if this happens, right, enroll this user in this workflow, and they'll get this email, etc. So there's quite a bit you can do there.
Excellent. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to pull a couple others. There are actually quite a few coming through.
Here's a cool one from Bastion. So it says, I've tested SmartFlow briefly. It works well with linear click paths through the product. Are there any ideas for, condition-based paths? So if X is chosen, or if Y is chosen.
Okay. Hold on, I'm trying to find this one.
Sure. And I mean, I can start. So
Yep.
what I would say, right, is it can definitely do, right, what you're talking about with like the linear click path. Our normal flow builder has different question types where then you have basically different triggers. If they say this, send them here, etc. I don't see any reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christine, that SmartFlow would not be able to do, those steps with those additional triggers with like branch logic.
No, it should be completely fine. And if there are probably use cases as we identified with one customer who's doing in beta right now where it's a little bit more complex and we're handling those as they come up. Okay. Talking about okay. My goodness. There's so many and there's so many that have been answered. I'm trying to make sure I get to many of them. Okay, this is a good one, very tactical, but very important. This is a no-code solution. Sorry in advance if you all get to this later. How exactly is it embedded into our software? So we do need to ask you to add the Userflow script into the code base. That is literally the only dev intervention that you're going to need to have. We, as product people and growth people, would like to ensure that our engineers are building at all times, or as much as possible. And so, yeah, we designed this platform with that core problem in mind to make sure that it's all hands off beyond that point.
Yeah, very lightweight deployment. You just embed some script. And coming back to, I think what I said earlier, headline is speed, right? The idea is that you don't need much dev resources so they can work on other things there.
Okay. Any other questions you're seeing? Trying to ping pong as we are answering.
Let me see. I see one specific about signing BAAs for HIPAA compliance. What I would say to that, and Christine, I don't know what your answer would be, but I've worked with some people in healthcare, particularly healthcare software. You get to decide what data you push over. So we don't have like a specific HIPAA compliance, but the people we work with that stay within HIPAA, they decide what PII they want to actually push over as identifiers or how they want to target, et cetera. So we work with a lot of people that do stay within HIPAA compliance, even though I guess our company itself is not HIPAA compliant.
Correct. Okay. We still have quite a few folks on. So if anybody does have any more questions or wants to share feedback, please feel free to do that. We're all ears. Okay. Okay. Oh, big one here. I will say this. Laura Davies, thank you for adding your name. You have asked a really good question. It's something that's on the top of my mind. Fates and Lauren's, who's our head of marketing on this call. Do you have a community I can join? Just started a new role. Part of the remit is to automate onboarding. I would love to network with people facing the same challenges to bounce ideas off of. I mentioned in the beginning of this call, one of the reasons I'm here at Userflow is because of the product community, because of the growth communities. We are actively looking at how we bring folks together in many different ways across our customer base and across the community or the market that we serve. So if you are interested, we will definitely reach out to you. It seems that you are interested. But yes, we don't have an actual community forum as of today. If you follow Userflow, we know that these are folks who are interested in engaging with each other. And we will look to do more of these types of webinars that are actually more interactive, so more roundtable type sessions as people start to express interest in certain areas of the product, and also not just the product, but really best practices and trying to figure out how to drive business results for their customers or for their businesses and with their customers.
I thought I recognized that name. I've spoken to Laura. Hi, Laura. Glad you're here.
Awesome. Okay, I think we are. I'd love a community. I'd love it. I'd love an official community. Don't worry. We're gonna make it happen. I think we are get here. Let's see. Okay. Laura responded to you. Hey. All right. I think we're safe to call it a webinar. Um, and Lauren will send out all of the recordings and the assets that y'all have been asking for. We'll also post this on our blog with a recap so that you can take a look at everything. Again, feedback. That is how we build a better product. That is how we share across the community. That is how we get better as a tech community at large. So please share it with us. Our ears are open, our doors are open, and we love having you on this journey. So thank you all for joining today.
Thanks, everybody.